United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you guys could stay standing for a second, I'd just like to have a moment of silence for Jennifer Panic. I mean, people don't think about these things all the time, and on a subject like that, like postpartum, but obviously in this town, it's a real thing. Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Mikolaychuk.
Here.
Council President Carney here. Councilman Carnes.
Here.
Councilman DeSenza.
Present.
Councilman DeCino.
Here.
Councilman Doty.
Here.
Councilman Griggs.
Here.
Administrator Laplace.
Here.
And Attorney Corsini. Here.
Okay. Moving on, we have no presentations tonight, no appointments tonight, no proclamations tonight. Ordinance for introduction.
We have ordinance number 2141-25, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Structures Damaged or Destroyed by Fire, of Chapter 317, Property Maintenance of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Middlesex to adopt the provisions of NJAC 5:23-2.32, unsafe structures.
Motion.
Motion? Second? Okay. All in favor, roll call?
Roll call. Council President Carnahan.
Yes.
Councilman Carnes.
Yes.
Councilman DeSenza.
Yes.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
And Councilman Griggs.
Yes.
Okay, and the meeting for that?
Hearing is going to be on the 25th.
All right, the 25th will be the hearing on this one. Okay, adoption of minutes, please.
We have approval of the January 28th, 2025 regular and executive meeting minutes.
Motion? Second?
Second.
All right, any changes, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving down, the mayor's report. All right, for tonight, I know you guys are going to cover a lot of the things, so I'm not going to dwell on it and go over it twice. I just want to say at this point in time, we have a lot of background stuff going on. We have I've had a meeting with the superintendent of schools. I've had a couple of meetings on the landlord registration. Actually, stuff that I can't talk about. So, at this point, it's going to be a quick report for me for tonight. So, Council President.
Okay. Thanks, Mayor. Handful of things. Our grant writer Alexa she's from Bruno and Associates. She successfully submitted our sizable Green Acres grant application last week in the nick of time. Special thanks to Linda, Carolyn, she's not here, Paul Waska, he's our chair of the Land Use Board, and especially Lenny. Lenny actually came in on his day off to help finish that up.
That was a good one.
Thanks, Lenny. Congrats to our high school boys varsity basketball team. They actually won the GMC Gold Division. They realigned the divisions. Also, congrats to our high school girls varsity basketball team. They won the GMC White Division. So we haven't done that before, the same year. Coffee with the Cop this past Saturday. I just want to, I'm sure, Kevin, you're going to talk about it, but I thought it was the best one yet. I've gone to most of these, and it was absolutely packed at the Elks. So, again, I thought it was the best one yet. Thank you to Sergeant Aricchio. Thanks for DPW to cleaning all the roadways through the night, I guess, on Saturday into Super Bowl Sunday. Everything looked really good Sunday morning. At our next council meeting, I've asked to add a workshop topic, and that'll be called Emergency Services Volunteer Fee Waiver, just to get folks that are in the fire department, rescue squad, and OEM to try to work through that and have some of the permits and fees in town waived for those, just for those active members. So we'll work that through on a workshop. This Sunday, as part of our Friends of the Library jazz programs, saboteurs of the PA Railroad with Kenneth Surfass. They'll be kicking off at 2 p.m. in the library community room, and it's always free of charge. The Green Acres grant survey that we had online for a couple weeks on the Borough website had almost 300 responses. So it was very well responded, and walking was the #1 activity that was ranked. It actually said walking, hiking, and that was at 85% of the responses. So almost 100% of it was, again, walking, hiking. My last thing here is I'd like to take a consensus now. I'd like to add this for the, at an upcoming agenda. It's an ordinance change to amend and update an old, it's an existing ordinance for contractors' storage yards. That's how it's termed. It's, again, out-of-date ordinance. It needs tougher language. And if we have a consensus tonight, Chris can work on it for an upcoming meeting. Okay? Everybody good?
Good? Good?
Kenny? Kevin? Okay?
Everyone? Yep.
Okay, Chris?
We have it.
100%.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Mayor, that's it.
All right, very good. All right, Councilman Carnes.
Thank you, Mayor. I just got put back on for the Board of Education. I'm honored to have been entrusted with the role of liaison and to serve as your primary communicator with our counterparts of the Board of Ed. Thank you for your trust. I look forward to fostering a strong collaboration and open communication between both sides. For the disabled and senior, we remain dedicated to serving our community's most vulnerable members and will continue to pursue every available avenue to ensure their well-being. As winter brings additional challenges, we encourage everyone to keep in mind the dangers posed by icy and snowy conditions, especially for those who like to still get out and walk. These hazards can be especially difficult for the elderly and disabled, making it even more important for them to offer helping hands when needed. So if you see someone and you're able to help them, please be a good neighbor, like State Farm. If you're able to assist, please check your elderly neighbors and, walk away to ice. This is simple stuff we can do. That's just love. For the film committee, we're still working as the film industry continues to grow in our state. The Middlesex Borough is committed to gaining increasing traction and positioning our community to remain competitive in this ever-expanding market, and also hopefully bring some additional income in the future for our community while attracting film productions. It's not only an opportunity for this, but it also showcases the beauty of our Middlesex world. And we're excited to keep supporting this initiative, and thank you for all the volunteers and help that has helped make this happen so far. And for the Culture and Arts Beautification Committee, we're excited to continue to explore new ideas and initiatives. We will delve deeper into these concepts during this upcoming workshop we're about to have, where we'll discuss future opportunities and plans to enhance our community's cultural and aesthetic appeal. A special thank you to the amazing community members that are continuously doing things. We have murals coming. We have the Color Flower Festival still going. We have open mic nights. We just had a Valentine's Day community, card making community where kids got to go make Valentine's cards. I think there's a recreation doing that as well coming up for another event. So you still have time to make your cards. That is it, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's go. Councilman DeSenza.
Yes, we had a HUD meeting and approved HUD funds for the 2025 grant application. Same as last year, $63,854. That was the swim pool, and in reviewing their last year's accomplishments, we noticed that they don't give a total number of memberships. And as part of that, we have a new change in the manager at the pool, and I think it's an appropriate time to have an audit of their funds. They do have quite a bit of money, and I'd like a full audit of their funds to see that their practices and fund handling is all up to date. So I've asked Council President to talk to Carolyn and see if we can get that through our auditor.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to start with the reporting on,
Membership.
because that when you read the report, it was like, well, this doesn't tell you whether they're making or losing money. That's what I want to know.
And they did report over a $15,000 loss in the concession stand. I can't find that. I mean, that can't be ongoing. That's a big number. So we'll look into that. Recreation, big report last night, big meeting. That facility is so overtaxed. I don't know where we go with it. You couldn't even get in the building last night. There were people waiting outside trying to get in. It's just packed with so many different programs. I know they're concerned about the volunteer fair and the timing of it, and thinking that maybe we should consider moving that back to September.
Oh, Community Day. Joe.
Community Day, I'm sorry, Community Day. Because it's May, all the construction that's going to go along with bathrooms and park. And we may want to consider that as an opportunity to move it back a little bit.
Yeah, good work.
Okay.
Also talking about Middlesex Monthly Artisan and Farmers Market. Looking at for a place to put that. Some talk about Cookfield maybe, or where else. They're still looking into that. That'll run the second Sunday of the month from April through September, 9 to 2 p.m. So they're still looking into that. All right. Today we had a SWAC meeting, and I guess our DPW was notified of the change of hours for the public service. They're requesting an hourly change. Their operations are Monday to Sunday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and they've asked for it to be moved back to 6 a.m. It's not going to change the number of trucks, number of deliveries. It's just so that they can receive the transfer, the garbage, an hour earlier and start working on it then. And that was approved by Lenny, and it was approved by county. So that'll start immediately. It's over on Bacon, so it should not impact the borough too much. That's all I have.
All right, thanks. Councilman DeCino.
Yes, for J-Love, the February 12th meeting was canceled. No applications. Our next meeting is February 26th at 7 p.m. As far as environmental, we're still discussing how many layers of the ERI mapping we're going to do and the money that's going to be used for. Hopefully some grants will help us with that. The Commission also wants to introduce 2 new ordinances for a future workshop agenda. One for invasive species and the other is outdoor lighting. We talked about this, the mayor and I, and Mike Conahey with the commission, and we gave our impression of it, what we thought. But I will forward these 2 to you after tonight's meeting so we can look it over prior to the next meeting. We'll have the workshop. As far as DPW, Lenny, thank you again for snow plowing. Your guys did a great job. I spoke to Lenny a few times, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I was out working also, so we're in communication with the whole time. And also, we talked about brining. I said that we would be brining all the roads, not knowing that we were going to get 3 storms a week. So, so due to that frequency, we're not able to brine every road. We're just doing the mains and the secondaries now. You know, we have 2 5,000-gallon tanks. We use 6,500 gallons to brine the whole tank. It takes us 5 days to make 5,000 gallons. So we just can't keep up. So we're doing the best we can just to do the mains and the secondaries.
And tonight, the mains are done, right?
The
Mains are done.
And the secondaries.
Also, as far as blacktopping, potholes, 10 tons of blacktop has been used for pothole repair. And on the downtime, which I don't know how they had much downtime, but they've also been having required classes through our GIF. They've done stormwater, snowplow safety, defensive driving, heavy equipment training, bloodborne pathogens, and cross-zone classes. So the guys are busy when they're not out on the road. They're usually in the community room on an off day where there's no garbage or recycling. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, very good. Councilman Doty.
Yeah, I have the fire report for everybody. For January last month, they had 49 calls already, first month. Pretty busy. There was 1 fire, it says other. I don't have details on it. A building fire. There was a cooking fire. 2 vehicle fires. Man, were they busy. There was a dumpster fire, 2 of those. Motor vehicle accident with injuries 4, and no injuries 6 of those. They do their usual gas calls, natural gas or LP. There was 11 of those. They actually did have one chemical spill last month, and the next biggest thing was they had authorized controlled burning, and carbon monoxide, they had 2 of those only, which is good for the winter time, obviously, because everybody's running heat. Chief also had a couple things that he wants me to go into specific. They were dispatched to cover something in Piscataway. It was a dumpster fire that they took care of on January 1st, right after midnight. They put it out and they were able, without any incident, and came back. There was an employee on the 3rd of January at Veolia, said there was a dumpster fire. They arrived, they put the fire, they knocked down the fire prior to our apparatus even getting there, because the Veolia has like basically their own fire brigade over there, not the trucks, but they have a lot of guys that are really well. I've seen them do the drills over with them, and the whole thing go off. It's incredible to watch. The 11th, they had one up at the end of Route 22 on Warrenville Road in Greenbrook. There was 2 unconscious patients at a car accident there. They arrived. There's 3 injuries total. Warren helped them on this particular one. They had to extricate 1 female patient from her vehicle in that one. They were busy on these too. January 22nd, there was somebody reported on Raritan Avenue that a vehicle struck a tree and rolled onto its side. Chief Choman showed up. The vehicle was secured, stabilized the front windshield, and they removed the windshield to gain access to the passenger compartment because they had 1 adult and a child trapped inside. Let's see. Raritan Avenue again on the 24th. Truck fire for a garbage truck. There was a slight spill of fluids. Middlesex County Hazmat also showed up and took over the investigation along with the fire marshal, but that was also knocked down. That's all I have. Oh, just to mention, Coffee with a Cop. Councilman McConaughey is correct. It was packed.
Packed.
Absolutely packed. I got there fairly early. I sat down, I guess the back of the room from where you come in, and was at the table alone, and next thing I know, it was full, and there was no place to sit. And I have to say, Sergeant Riccio, I don't know how she does it, but she does an incredible job. She has more and more people donating to that, and if you haven't ever done it, go to one of those events. You know, the last thing is, just to mention it, it's coming up. Our Volunteerism Day will be May 3rd, it looks like. The details are still getting put together. Yeah, I saw that in my box, and I just wanted to mention it, and I will be mentioning it continuously. Otherwise, Ms. Benson will be smacking me if I don't. So show up and see how you can volunteer and get involved in this town. That's all I have, Mayor.
You know, it is amazing when you go to those events, just how many of the vendors in town and the businesses pony up. You know, like no questions asked. There was no shortage of food and things for the people that were there. They had stuff for the kids. It's a great event. Every year it gets better and better. Okay, Councilman Griggs.
Yeah, thank you. I was at the Coffee with a Cop event also. Great turnout we had, as everyone else had said. But also, I did hear a lot about how we did the snow plowing and stuff in town there, and everybody was happy. All the residents seemed satisfied with what was going on, so that was a good thing. You know, a number of people were talking about how things were, going on like last year and starting this year, so that was good. I'm the liaison for the Shade Tree Commission, which hasn't met yet, but that'll be meeting this Thursday at 7 o'clock, if anyone's interested in that. Also, for the Board of Health, that means the following Thursday, the third Thursday of the month, also at 7 o'clock. And I'm also the liaison for the Zoning Commission, and I did get a report from our zoning officer regarding the 2024. He had that there was 127 summonses issued, which was higher than a few of us had thought on discussion. And, you know, it's between residences and commercial locations. And, you know, the average fine for a residence is about $300, and about $500 for a commercial business. So he's, you know, he's actively enforcing our codes in town. As far as this recent, in the month of February, he said they had 7 zoning permit applications, 5 residential and 2 commercial, a number of re-rent applications. And they also had 7 violations, which are in progress, and he issued 2 summons. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Administrator LaPlace.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the audience. Good evening. I'd like to first add my thanks to the previous one regarding Public Works for keeping the streets clean and safe during our recent snowstorm. I'd also like to thank the Middlesex Police Department for handling a tragic case that's with sensitivity and professionalism. Work continues on the 2025 budget, and now we have submittals from all departments, so we'll be setting up our sessions to meet with each department. Progress is being made on contract negotiations with representatives of the Police Benevolent Association, the Public Works Workers Union, and the White Collar Workers Union. We have meetings scheduled for tomorrow, weather permitting. We'll see if, and hopefully we'll be able to continue our work. Suburban consulting engineers were very helpful in helping the borough complete the application that was mentioned earlier by the council president for state Green Acres funding. This is for future improvements to Victor Crowell Park. The consultants are now working with borough staff and officials to schedule the public participation phase of our master plan process for the park. So we're kind of proceeding on a 2-track approach here, where we started going after funding while we're doing the master plan. So hopefully when the master plan is ready and we have some great things to spend the money on, we'll have some grant funding in place. I would like to, at this time, ask for consensus from council on 2 items. The first one is to draft an ordinance to vacate a 20-foot wide strip of the Grove Avenue right-of-way. This fronts lot 25 in block 265, which is the former Middlesex Borough Fire Headquarters site. As you recall, we've sold the property, and this is just a 20-foot wide strip in front of the building along Grove Street. Grove Street's kind of interesting. I don't know if we've ever told the council this, but the part of Grove Street as you come off of Route 28 is about 60 feet wide, the cartway, but then the right-of-way widens to 100 feet. So there's all this extra easement and right-of-way that no one's using. If you go out there now, the road looks about 50 or 60 feet wide, because that's where the curbs are and everything. So this is basically making the 20 feet that we don't need in front of the site productive, because the new owner of the old fire headquarters can make good use of the site. Right now, if you look at the site, it looks like parking for the property anyway, so this is just recognizing that. And now it'll also be added to the parcel, so that there'll be some increase in taxes on the property as well, in terms of revenue. So I'd like a consensus from the council to move ahead with that ordinance.
Consensus?
Yep.
Yes? Jeremiah? Yep.
Question?
Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Question. Can we get anything for it?
Well, when we vacate it, then what we're getting for it is basically there'll be
Future
taxes on it.
But they won't, you don't think they'll...
You know, Joe, that's a bit of a reach. That's like you paying for a sidewalk in front of your house that you've already been using for all
No,
these years.
that's 20 feet. That's not 5 feet of the sidewalk. This is...
I think it represents a really nice partnership with the borough and the new property owner, because we got a very good price for the property.
Okay.
So that's an eyesore there.
That actually is, he's going to do us a favor.
He's doing us a favor, actually, yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Not
have to
buildable.
maintain the property.
Correct.
I understand that.
It's a mess down there.
But if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
The second item, and I thank you for that, we'll move forward with that drafting an ordinance. The second item is to draft an ordinance to amend the bylaws of the Middlesex Borough Code to conform to Middlesex County's Drug Alliance bylaws, and that was their bylaws. They had to update their bylaws as mandated by the state of New Jersey. So it's making these bylaws, just in conformance with current regs. So we need your consensus to go ahead and do that.
Consensus?
Yep.
Great.
All right, we're good.
Thank you. The Joint Land Use Board will be discussing the restoration of R75 single-family residential zoning for the property at 1190 Mountain Avenue, which is known as the Presbyterian Church, which is Lot 1 and Block 219. This will happen at the board's March 12th meeting. So what they'll be doing is discussing it. If they decide to make a recommendation to restore the old residential zoning, they'll make that report to the council. Resolutions this evening include approval of the 2025 Housing and Urban Development, the HUD funds, the transfer of a plenary retail consumption liquor license, and the authorization for the borough to execute a one-year agreement with Civic Plus for agenda and management software. There will be an agenda workshop. There will be two discussions during our workshop, actually two, this evening, regarding the Hometown Heroes street banners and also the proposal to create a cultural arts and beautification agreement. And in executive session this evening, there will be discussion of the police chief contract. And that's it.
All right, very good, thank you. All right. Very good. Administrator. All right, moving on. Privilege of the floor. We're opening the floor up right now. If you have something to say, come on up. Speak into the mic. Name and address, please.
Robert Gore, 160 Farragut Avenue. I have just a couple of concerns that have been ongoing for years, and I'd like to have the council look into that as well as the mayor. The first thing is that there's a tree located on 150 Farragut Avenue, which is next door to me. The tree is actually, the bottom root of it is actually in the roadway, and it's obstructing the blacktop. There is constantly, I know the borough has been trimming that tree once in a while, but the tree branches keep on coming down, and they're going in lawns, they're going in my lawn, they're going in my neighbor's lawn, they're going on the street, and they're also, when people walk. We have an active street there because it's right across the street from Haverstick Park. During the summer, during the spring and the fall, there's a lot of activity which people walk with kids and strollers. Elderly people walk, they use the park, and also car park. Branches fall on them. And anytime it blows wind, rain, or even these storms, we're not talking small tree branches, but they're pretty large that come down. And it seems that, I mean, I know it has been addressed, and there was trimming, but it's still not right. So I would like that to be looked into. There was a Predator truck out there about a week, last week. I met with, we saw a partial tree on the opposite side by the park. They took down a large active tree on one side to wide out. So they did cut that. They never touched the neighbor's yard at all at 150. So I would like if you guys could look into that and see what you can do.
Is that a shade tree?
It's a very well concern that's been going on, and it's a habit. Because there's people that walk their children out just with strollers, but these branches do come down in the summer. So we were told last fall, my neighbor alerted me that the borough turned around and had a representative come out to look at the tree. We were told that they do not take down live trees. But if you go look currently right now, they took down a live tree across the street. For what reason, we don't know, but there is very well concerned these branches are coming down. There's some very large trees over in that area. So I appreciate if you can look into that.
Got it. We'll refer to the shade tree guys. You're not the first tree person to come here, so there is basically a policy and a procedure that we follow, and not being an arborist, we'll work off of their recommendation.
I appreciate that, because this is going on for years. All right, it's not a new thing to the borough. It's not a new thing to the councils. I don't know if this council, but prior councils. But it is a safety concern that I have, and I would like to know if you can look into it. I appreciate that.
No problem. You said two things. Was that
the next thing is I know it has been addressed. Lenny has been out there, Public Works trying to do their best. This is a very ongoing issue, and it's a very, very safety concern. There's a large number of geese, large number. They're currently there almost every day. They land into the park. They have goose droppings all over. I seen the kids are playing their soccer games. They're actually falling, touching the ball. People are in that park. They're at, that park's being utilized all the time. But people play in the park, kids fall down, people touch, people walk on the park, they touch things. I'm talking this year and last year, it's a very, I don't know what happened, but we have a very large population of geese. And they also they also go on the street. They also go on people's lawns. There's some neighbors that are here tonight. We keep on chasing these geese away. We're trying. We're talking, I don't know, it could be 50 to 100 geese at one time. I know years ago, it was addressed with Public Works. The gentleman that used to work for Public Works, he did an excellent job. I think at one point in time, they did have geese boots out there. They put a wooden type of statuette of a dog, which geese don't like, and it kind of helped out. But this is real, this is bad. This is every day. I wouldn't be here tonight just to tell you about the number that I cleaned up with me, and let me tell you, I cleaned up that park. I am on a corner lot. All year round, I pick up garbage. I even rake the stone that Lenny put down to make sure that everything's fine, because there is no parking for any. That park, if you look at it, it's kind of unique. There is no parking at all. So I try to maintain the park, not just because I go across the street, but because I take pride in my town. And it's not fair that I have to rake just not my lawn. I go rake a public. I pick up a public street, and I also just rake. I keep on raking the inside of a municipal park, and it's an ongoing thing. And I think it got so large that we live it every day. We live this, and the geese are here constantly. The ice storm, I don't know what happened, but the geese still land there. It's unbelievable. It's not just grass. When you put down that nice sheeting that goes out in the middle of the thing, that's like, they like that thing. I don't know what they're eating out of it, but they like it. But the flock of geese that come into that area is real, I'm talking, really bad. And I think it's a very well safety concern for all the people, all the kids, all the adults that visit that park, walk down the street, and it also affects everybody else's lawn. So I would appreciate that if you could look into that matter, because it is, we live it every day. The geese are still there. They were there tonight. So they land anytime you can hear them fly over. And they land everywhere. So I really would like you to look into that if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
You got it. Lenny?
We've been working on it, just so your neighbors, you and your neighbors know. I have gotten several complaints from the residents. I've worked with Mike Conahan, Council President Conahan, and Robert Casino. You got three options. I mean, it's not just us. It's not Middlesex. It's everything, right? I'm a Middlesbrough director. You have the repellent that we've used before at Victor Crow Park. We have tried those model animals, whatever, dogs. I've seen them eat these next to the dogs. So we've tried the repellent. The repellent worked well. It's environmentally friendly. It's just costly, right? And it only lasts a certain amount of time. So they lay it down. It's like a granular system. Probably good for a couple months. Did I see, it work out at Victor Crow? Yes, I saw a little bit less geese at Victor Crow since we had that. So we, Mike Conahan and myself have been working on quotes to do for capital to get Haverstick, Victor Crow, Cookfield to get these geese out. I mean, we used to do, there's the dogs too. We went through this before when one of my employees used to have the dogs and chase them. The dogs are a huge liability for the town. Even when you hire these companies that have the dog, they fall under the borough's insurance, which is a problem because, God forbid, that trained dog bites somebody, we are now liable. And I even go as far back as, I think it's Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, Peapack and Gladstone, they caught it and euthanized it.
Peapack, yeah, they did that. There's that little park at Peapack that they did over
My law
there.
firm represents PPAC. That
Yeah.
was a big
Yeah,
problem.
it was-
For Steve Warner, who's
Yeah.
off-the redevelopment at 30.
Euthanized, right?
Yeah, it was
Euthanized.
hugely
We're not
controversial.
It's the road we want to go.
Yeah, it was a big problem.
I just want to make you aware that we're working on it.
All right, well, you know, let's have a little get-together and
Okay.
talk specifically about, Bob?
Can you please get back to me with your findings, because I'd like to get this resolved. I think.
I see in the mortality.
Yeah, because it is a very it is dangerous. I'm talking, there's a lot of that stuff that's out there. And just to watch even in the fall, these young children playing soccer, as you know, it's a hands-on sport. They're touching it, falling down, and it's a safety concern, they cut their legs or whatever. But it's just not soccer, it's everything. It's the residents here. We're really upset about this, because if it was a little bit, but it is so bad now. I know Public Works has been working on it, which is great, but we're living this every single day. They're there day, they land in around 6 a.m., they're there all day, they fly out, they come back in again. But as being a resident, we live that and we clean it up. And I shouldn't be raking up a park, cleaning up a street. I got to clean up my yard, but I'm cleaning up public property. And like I said, I take pride in the park. I go out there, there's garbage along that barrel. I don't know what it is, people just throw everything in there. And I clean it up, I put it in my garbage can, or I just make sure that it's disposed properly. But it's, I know I'm here because it's been going on for so many years, people are looking into it, and there's no resolvement in the matter. I know maybe you can't do nothing, there's something has to be done, I'm sure. On a larger scale, maybe somebody can do something, but for right now, I just wanted to make that presentation to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we also, Mayor, when he said it, we had somebody came into the Parks meeting in the fall, and then another guy came into the Parks meeting at the end of the year. One was Victor Crowell, one was Victor Crowell and Cookfield. So now this is the third park, which is Haverstick, so, yeah, third person, so it's not going away.
No.
And same complaints. They had the same exact complaints.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
listen, I got them in my backyard. They come, they land, they're there all day. You see them around there. And it's the only thing that's been and it's been a little bit worse now because unfortunately my dog passed away. He used to go out there and chase them all out of there. So, now, it is an issue. I don't know what can be done. I don't know, because I don't know the scope of it or anything like that, but I do recognize it's an issue. I mean, it's ongoing, even Victor Trout. I mean, you go there, I know, you have to Lenny to clean the path up, and he cleans it, and then you come back in the afternoon, and you're right back where you started from. It's unbelievable. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jawad. I live on 150 Farragut Avenue, and my issues are similar to what Bob was referring to. The tree is right across from my house, and I'm not sure, maybe like 6 months ago there was some work done on the street, and to level the road they cut through the roof. Regardless, every once in a while a 10-foot twin branch falls right on my yard, and it hits so hard that sometimes you feel the shaking of the house. So I just want to make sure that I bring to your attention that not only that all the kids around the neighborhood, they walk around the tree. There are 3 kids that cross the house, they live in the house across from me. I have my own kids. Kids who come in and play in the park, and their cars parked. So these small branches, maybe they look like very thin, like a stick, falling from maybe
40 feet up, it's a
really
problem.
hurt, right? And also, a lot of these branches fall on my driveway, and I usually have my couple of cars parked. And some of them are really expensive, and anything happens to these cars, the insurance wants to total it. So I'm addressing this as a resident that this tree has become a nightmare because of all these branches that are falling. And there are a lot of dead branches. I know they said they're going to come out and take a look, but I'm not sure how it's going to get resolved. We already have out a couple of times, and we trimmed it a few times. And after trimming, it's still happening. So I just want to bring this to your attention. Looking for some resolution. And secondly, with the geese, same thing. These geese, when they poop, they carry a lot of diseases. And these diseases can have real impact on they can maybe pass down. It can spread out. So this is definitely a serious issue. I know the DPW, they do a great job, and they always help out, but this issue needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
Dave Polkevich, 240 Hazelwood. I have a few matters I want to ask about there. Mr. LaPlace mentioned during his report that the Liberty Corner Presbyterian Church, the J-Lub, I guess, is going to look at returning it to residential zoning.
You're in the wrong town if it's Liberty Corner.
What's that?
You said Liberty Corner.
Yeah, you're about 30 miles, 20 miles away.
They can do whatever they want up there, Dave.
They can put in 100. What about next door?
Sure.
That they're looking at returning it to residential zoning.
At this point, that it's under consideration, yes.
Okay. If the zoning was returned to what it was before it became church, how many units could fit over there? Did anybody have an estimate?
That would be irresponsible to estimate because right now there's issues with that property, so I don't know what it could be. I wouldn't even guess. No, I wouldn't even guess.
Would this be for multi-family buildings or single family?
It's just resident. It's a zone, Dave. It doesn't.
So whatever fits into it.
Okay. Mr. DeSenza earlier referred to some report with the concession stands that the concession stand at the pool was 15,000.
It's the annual swim pool report.
Okay, so that came out in December, January.
Yeah, it's a few weeks ago. Two, right after the end of the year.
Yeah, they do it during January.
This is the
Yeah.
report for 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Another question I had, I was looking online and I saw at the Victor Kroll Park document you had that hearing recently. And the cost estimate for the project is $150,000. How much the grant is being sought from?
I believe so, yeah.
Does that include, I heard talk of a playground there, but I didn't see a playground listed on the list of stuff.
It asked us to estimate it's an interesting exercise for us because we don't have a plan yet. We were kind of anticipating what the plan will involve. So we based it on input from the survey and that sort of thing. So certainly we'd be updating and adding to playground equipment. It still looks like, Victor Kroll Park would be basically a passive park rather than an active recreational facility like Mountain View Park. But, improved path, improved, hopefully restoration of the warming shed and access to the lakeside and paths and things like that. Those are the components.
So if you do put a new playground down there, would you be seeking money from the DEP to help pay for it, or would they go to a different grant for something else?
Well, it would be the money that we get from the Green Acres grant. Yeah.
Okay. I believe Kevin may have asked about this last time, but I didn't hear the answer to it. Are we in litigation regarding Victor Kroll Park right now and water and the situation in there? Who are we in litigation with and what are we doing?
New Jersey American Water, we are in mediation.
Mediation?
Mediation. Court ordered, every case does it. Every case is offered it, and typically they do it.
So we filed a lawsuit at one point, and then the court said try to settle it before we have to step in?
That is standard. Some cases don't, there's no desire on either side, so they just do you get a half hour for your 45 minutes free. They do it and they say, all right, see you later. We have taken advantage of that.
Right, and this is a serious issue.
Yeah. But yes, yes and yes.
Okay. When is the mediation session?
They are periodic. I don't know the next one.
Okay. Mr. LaPlace also mentioned about, I guess there's 3 contracts, DPW, PVA, and White Collar. We have
Yes.
units. Do any of them have, or all of them have, existing contracts right now, or have their contracts expired on January 1st?
Yeah, a little of both.
Okay. Let's
Pardon me? Oh, yeah, sorry. They all expired at the end of December. I mean,
So they're all 3 are working?
all 3 are working right now, yes,
Without contracts?
without contracts.
Okay. the last contracts went, what, for like 3 years, or 2 years?
2.5, I think. 4. Yeah, 4.
4 contracts. And we're now working on the contracts.
Correct.
You know, I thought that was the case when I'd seen some of the things on the executive session over the last couple of months. And, you know, so you've got 3 contracts right now that, you know, are not resolved. And you also have the same situation across town for today. But you really don't hear anything about what's going on here. It seems like you guys are discussing things quietly and trying to resolve this. What are you guys doing differently than the Board of Ed? Because, you know, we had a demonstration recently.
We're communicating and have a desire to resolve them and be fair.
One last topic. Mr. Place also mentioned the budget process. The departments have come in and given you figures temporarily, or?
Yeah, what we do is sort of the first opening round of the budget process is to ask the department heads and all the departments to provide us with a proposal for the year for the budget, but also we ask them to please, you know, if it cannot exceed the expenses from the previous year to really hold the cost in line. And so far, it looks really good what we're seeing coming in from the various departments.
So they have been, the department hasn't been told that they cannot exceed last year's?
They've been asked. I mean,
They've been asked.
It's hard to tell them to absolutely do that when cost, every single cost going up, materials, insurance, benefits.
Right.
But in good faith, most of the departments are really trying to do that. So I think we're off to a good start.
So,
Dave?
go ahead.
Sorry, just one other point along the lines is that one of the major components of these contracts is the health insurance, and it's a process that they are well aware of. It's a process that we're doing our best to keep it moving along, and we're being open and forthright that because we're trying to take care of things, and we're moving as fast as we can, but it's going to be hard for us to negotiate a finality without having the health insurance part settled.
Right, and I know, I think it was the last meeting.
Last meeting.
You guys were going to executive session.
Yes, and we have a broker. Our broker has solicited from the town information. He has, I believe, 90% of the information. I think he's waiting for one last little bit, which may actually come from the state. And once they have that, they will come back with a proposal, at which point we can, we can sit down, talk about it, and then move things forward.
So you're basically waiting to get a little bit more certainty on the health insurance issue before you get into really the weeds on this contract.
Well, let's put it this way. A lot of to the best of my knowledge, a lot of the little stuff is kind of done and dusted. It's the matter of, the big stuff now, which is like the health insurance and the wage. That's like the two biggies, and they're sort of like co-mingled, because it's going to be hard to be as fair as you would like to be when you're getting wrapped with an exorbitant health care increase. And that's why, and it's not just us, it's all over the state, and that's why we're going through this process right now, and we've been very open, we've communicated it, and all the unions understand, and they bought in, so we're trying to do the right thing.
All right, just to get back to this place on the budget, so the department heads were not given, like, this is what we want you coming in.
Not yet.
But they basically try to hold the line sooner or later.
No, it's a starting point. We've asked them to be as, really conservative as possible in terms of what they're asking for. They know it's a tough budget year for the borough. That it's going to be a tough budget, time for the borough for foreseeable future. So I think they've all taken that very seriously. What happens is the next round is when we sit down with the department heads, we talk, and we go line by line. And we see where we can do some initial cuts, even before members of the council see it. So staff has a couple shots at trying to, make it as lean and mean as possible.
Okay. One last question, Mayor. You watch the news. There's a lot going on right now about efficiency in Washington, and We have people scrutinizing everything that's being spent in certain departments at the federal level. Have you thought of possibly bringing in, I'm sure through municipalities, you probably get somebody to come in and look at the operations here and possibly make some suggestions on efficiencies?
Have I thought about it?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, Dave, is that, you know, for a person even like myself, I've been doing this for 38 years in accounting and finance, and you sort of have an idea of what to look for. And we do have a very stringent audit process. We do the self-assessments, and frankly, we don't have $5 million that we're sending to Africa to check, you know, the tsetse fly and everything else. We don't have that. That's not going on here. I mean, what it really comes down to when we do the budget, you know, I'm not trying to be a wise guy, and I apologize if you took it that way, is that, you know, really at the end of the day, with the budget and what we have to deal with in this town, it almost comes down to, what don't you want? That's really what it is. What don't you want? You know, I mean, people come in and they say, we would like you to handle the geese. Well, if that turns out to be, now you have to balance that, all right? Do I take care of geese, or do I take care of bamboo infestation somewhere? Or, you know, you have to balance all these things out. We really, it's just the nature of where we are, with the fact that with our ratables and everything else, we don't have deep pockets. So you don't have to go that far to find the loose change. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, you've heard the old forensic audit and all the rest of that. And to be quite honest, if I thought there was merit to it, I'd be the first one in line saying, yeah, well, boy, we really got to do that. It's not here.
Yeah, well, I could be wrong. What's going on in Washington is not really a forensic audit so much. It's more like they're just going in and saying, do we need this program? Do we need that program? It's more, you know, I always thought forensic audit was looking for, you know, miscalculations and misplaced money and things like that, whereas I think they're looking at things on merit or lack of merit. That's what
True, but when you look towns and even the schools, I mean, 80% of the budget is salaries and benefits. 80%, probably even more in the schools, probably 90%. And here it's quite a bit. I mean, the only things that throw it down here is probably debt service, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, that's why we look at things like we need to take care of the Piscataway pump house type thing. That's $300-something thousand a year, every year. That's why we worked on the source, to try and figure out how do we get rid of that, because that's a fixed cost that does nothing for us. That's why we went from Middlesex County Health to Somerset County Health, because we were spending a lot of money and we got nothing for it. You know, so I mean, do we look at these things? Yes, and I have to say that I'm kind of happy with the group of guys that we have up here, because everyone's going at it with the same attitude. We got to look, what can we do? I mean, and we don't want to take away something without getting something back for it. And what's been very difficult over the last few years is going through the budget process, trying we don't want to cut any services to the residents, none. And I got to tell you that every year that's getting harder and harder and harder, especially when you have health insurance going up like crazy. You got the state coming up with all these cockamamie fees and all the rest of the things that they want you to do. It gets very difficult. Frankly, on my end, it gets really pretty frustrating, because every year you say, oh, thank God we got through this year. Next year, man, we're going to be in good shape. And you get to like the middle of January and you're right back where you started from. It's like, what's going on? You know, and a lot of the stuff is almost like a fixed cost. It's nothing you could change. You're just stuck. You know, and that's why one of the big stuck was the health insurance. That's why we're looking at it, and we're hoping we're not stuck with it, so we could do right for the town and right for the employees.
All right, thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Sandra Lasasha. I live on 360 Voorhees, on the last house in Boston, Haverstick. So I'm going to piggyback over what Bob was talking about with the geese, but I'm going to add that it's toxic to animals. My 4-year-old Cadaverl was diagnosed with IBS and liver disease from eating goose poop. Yeah. So it's a serious, serious thing. $30,000 later in vet bills. She's now on, prescriptions and everything else to keep her alive. So I want to address that and answer it. But I think Jack knows where I'm here. We had a conversation about my neighbors on 368 Borough. They are Section 8. The slumlord landlord has done nothing. I know that Tyler has given them citations about the garbage or rubbish. Now there's furniture on the side of the house. There's rats. Now it's a health issue. And you have, the neighbors up and down the street take pride in their property. I said to myself, every day I have to look at it. I was called the police on Saturday because there was an altercation with one of the young men that live in there. There's multiple families living there. I don't know how they're getting a certificate of occupancy for 4 families living in there. And he started giving me crap. He's just very mouthy, screaming at me, my neighbor next door, because he was not picking up his dog crap. And I called him out on it. Now this is, unfortunately, when there was more important things going across the street in the park with that poor woman. So I wasn't going to pick us home and bother with the police with it. So my neighbor next door to me interjected. He's a fireman. And he goes, listen, just get me a house. His kid, who was walking the dog. Who, by the way, didn't pick up his dog food. And I have complained multiple times. I have given him bags. I don't know what to do. I don't know what sense.
Quick question. When was the last time you saw the code enforcer out there, Tyler? When was that?
I sent him, I work, so I sent him emails with pictures.
When was the last one? Ish.
The last email was last month.
Last month? Okay.
I spoke to you last month. I called the clerk. I think I spoke with Linda. Somebody asked her. I asked or the tax collector, who owns that house? Because it's a public record that is this landlord allowed to allow his tenants to do this? It's 2 years now.
All right. Well, let me do a little bit more research on this.
I mean, do I call the Board of Health?
Well,
do I call 7 on your side? What do I do? Yeah, tell me.
Well, that's what we're going to try and figure out is exactly what remedies can be done. Because there is and as much as it gets frustrating, we have a couple of these where you have to follow a certain procedure to go all the way through this. Regarding like an altercation in the street, that type of thing, Officer Mendito is right back there. Feel free to talk to her. She'll give you some good guidance.
I didn't think it was appropriate for me to,
Well, not when they're doing that, but obviously, but she's right here right now. She'll be more than happy to give you like some pointers on how to handle something like that. Because
I've been a resident for 31 years, paying taxes. I didn't deal with this request. Go down where he's at. Halfway down 368. Just look down their driveway and there's back there. There's furniture, garbage, recycling. The garbage can stays out 24/7. I have pictures on my phone for almost 2 years now, and nothing has been done. Nothing.
Did you email the code enforcement?
Yes, Tyler.
Did he respond to you?
I spoke to Tyler. I called Jack last month. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the things that we were talking about on Friday when we were on the phone with the judge.
Did they get summonses issued? Do you know if they went to court?
Jack did tell me that they were doing summonses, but it's gotten worse. It's really got worse.
You know what?
The stays in the front. The DPW isn't picking it up because it's huge. I can understand why. It's a huge garbage can, and they just throw everything on it. Not in garbage bags. Nothing.
So it's not even it's a non-conforming garbage can.
I know, and they said, oh, well, they're going to have to call out to see. DPW doesn't do bulk pickup, but it doesn't matter. All that shit's on the side. Excuse my friend. On the side of the house. Furniture now. Furniture.
We'll get into it.
Thank
you. Look, all right, thank you.
Well, I'm going to be in jail.
Well, we don't want that. But listen, but do take a minute though and go talk to the officers.
Listen,
We'll give it a try. I've had a little bit of experience with the geese situation. I'm a lifelong member of the National Audubon Society, so I've had a little bit of experience with it. Did you know that adult goose droppings are about 1.5 pounds each day? And they contain E. coli, Salmonella, Histoplasmosis, Coccidia, and Giardia. So these are not things to be messed with. And children and pets are greatly affected, more so than adults, because adults, we have enough immunity built in our bodies, for the most part, to not have a problem with this. Oh, by the way, Bob Edwards, 243. Thank you. So the way to fight this thing is with, I hate to say it, chemicals. I don't recall the exact mixture of what it is, but there are things that you can state to the county health board to find out exactly what the mix is, and that they will possibly administer it or recommend someone to administer it. And once the chemicals start kicking in, you might lose a patch of lawn here and there, but other than that, geese tend to stay away. They've been here for 10,000 years, and they're not going away. They're longer than we have, at least in this town. So that would be my guess as to how to alleviate the process. It might take a couple of months. And obviously, as you know, they don't go south every winter. And I don't know why they didn't go south this winter, because to me it's been cold enough for them to get out of here. But the flyways have been vacated for a lot of different breeds of birds as well. Chesapeake Bay is very low on migrant birds this winter. So something else is going on in the atmosphere, I guess.
So quick question for you, because you've been down this road before. Is this something that we pursue with the county to try and get them to get us chemically set up?
If they know about it, yes. If they don't, then I would go to the state. Because states talk...
Have you ever asked Lenny?
I've seen New Jersey Fish and Game and Wildlife. They do the chemical. I don't know much about the chemical, Jack, to say that it's not going to be safe.
You let me down, Lenny. You know, no, just...
Listen, one of your biggest problems, just so you're aware, is, I mean, I got 26 years here. We've been really on top of the maintenance of those fields because they were not addressed back then. So there is a lot of fertilization. I think Bob can attest that's probably the first time he's ever seen a thermal blanket at Haverstead Park was over the last couple of years. So I'm sure that's a huge factor.
So the fertilization is like dragging them in? It's like...
Yeah, the overseeding and all that stuff we're doing to get that park to what it should be, I'm sure it's not helping them. It's drawing them. So you kind of have a double-edged sword to where Bob said.
Right, because you're like Santa Claus. You're giving them a nice buffet.
I am, but it's kind of like, so we're either going to not take care of the park, use the chemical, kill the grass, and not be able to use it for recreational purposes, right? I mean, we have soccer there, we have mice there, we have 2 baseball fields there. Those fields haven't looked that good since in a long, long time. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to do some digging.
We'll have to put some time into it, because like I said, we're back to a balance again.
Yeah, I can certainly do that.
Yeah, and Bob, I'll communicate with Bob and that.
One thing to remind you of is a closure here. Children and pets are greatly affected
I heard that
by
the first time.
mold, E. coli, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, obviously.
That's-
$30,000 later, yeah, they are.
Here you are. Sorry.
Believe it or not, your best friend in that is probably a good fox.
Yeah, but
They come with their own problems.
Yeah,
one product. It's a lesser of 2 evils.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Anything else? No.
Hi, my name is Soma Marina and I live at 202 Farragut Avenue in Middlesex. I have spoken to my name before about...
Excuse me, miss. One more time. A little slower and a little louder.
What's your name?
My name is Sulma Marino and I live in 202 Farragut Avenue. They are my neighbors. I think I'm one of the ones that calls the most to Benny regarding the keys. I have been asking if we could get a gate, and I don't know what the solution is, because I know it actually helps my neighbor from the keys coming out, but I would like to know if we can get a gate, because actually the door that is closer to my house, that's where they come out.
Yeah, she's called me in reference to, so having...
But don't they fly?
So, well, yeah, I did go over that.
They walk out of the park.
They're walking out of the playground area, which is the only area that doesn't have a gate because it's narrow.
Over there, yeah.
Yeah, so I did.
Oh, okay.
So I did inform her, I'm looking, it's actually going into my capital fence to add more money into my capital fence repair, to add a gate there so it's fully enclosed. I mean, not to make promises that they're not going to fly over.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Well, just a quick, and I'm not too familiar with that part, is where the playground is that in its own little fenced-in area?
It's included in the car of the park.
Right, I'm just asking. But if it was fenced in, would that be better for the kids that play in the park? Would the geese still go in there, or would that kind of like push them out?
Well, they can fly, Mayor, so...
Well, I know that. That's why we're getting them a gate.
If they were peacocks or ostriches,
No, but they would stay in the main part of the park
they would
more.
more than likely stay in the main park, but you still would have an issue with these geese, and they're dropping.
Oh, I know. No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, as far as, she was talking, well, Bob was talking kids and animals.
Yes, would it help? Yes, for that playground area, yes.
Excuse, 1 second.
I'm sorry, but that's not the problem.
Could you go to...
You miss, yeah, sorry, don't mean to do that to you, but...
You see, even if you put a gate surrounding the playground area, a lot of kids do not go to play in the playground area. When the kids go, it's because they're playing sports, soccer, baseball. So it's in the main field. You get maybe 1, 2 kids in the playground area, but so it's not going to solve the problem.
Okay, thank you. I guess what I was looking at it from was the fact that usually the playground areas will be younger kids versus the sports will be the older kids.
Jack, I just want to finalize what I have to say, and as well as my neighbors. I know everywhere, every park, you can't control the geese. But within this last year, it is so big of geese flying in. We're doing pots and pans, horns, talking to these geese, out, and I'm talking, they're over 50 to 100 at one point setting almost every day. One day they didn't come, and we said, what happened? But I shouldn't be the park police. I don't think anybody should be the park police. But because the large number of gatherings, you can putting the fence around there and so forth.
No, I was just asking.
I'm just saying, just as a suggestion that was brought up. But yeah, geese do fly, they do go out of the way, but that park is so unique because it's so big and wide open. The kids, when they have sport activity, they also, the remainder who don't play, go on the swings, go on the playground. And as well as a lot of people, even in the wintertime, they were just on the swings the other day, even when we had ice on. But it gets utilized, park gets utilized by so many people. And there's even so many people, when they play sports, that come out of town. It's a very active park. So if you can stop some of them, maybe they'll get the idea that, okay, now I got in their mind, they have a different detour they go to. Maybe they won't be as much, or maybe they won't come back. But it's getting so populated, you have, if you physically go walk that right now, you can see all the droppings all over. And we're just picking up bags of stuff. I'm picking up full bags of stuff. The neighbors are doing as best as they can. And we're not here just because it happened for the last couple of months. This is an ongoing couple of years of geese that are flying. And it's really a real safety hazard.
Hey, let us look into it. Let's see what we can get done. I mean, I can appreciate your concern, for sure.
Would you like, you're going to return my call or return my information after I can give it to you? So this way I can get a response back because we need to address this.
I think I still have your phone number on my phone.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Jack, if they would come up with a remedy, just so if you're okay with it, I'll put the dog / when I have a printer, I'll do a vinyl printer, I'll do the reflectomizing with all down there.
Okay.
I'll put them out there. In the meantime, I'm sure Bill will figure out a solution in reference to.
Yeah, well, it's, obviously nothing's going to be done in 4 minutes, but I know you can do that fairly
I'll
quickly.
be able to take care of that.
All right, thanks, Lenny. Anybody else? All right, let's close the public portion. Motion to close?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, here we go. Linda?
We have Resolution 62, 2025, acceptance of standing reports. Resolution 63, 2025, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the Borough of Middlesex and Civic Plus for an agenda and meeting management software for a term of 1 year. Resolution 64, 2025, authorizing tax title lien redemption for Block 6, Lot 2.02. Resolution 65, 2025, approval of the Governor's Council on Substance Use Disorder fiscal grant cycle for the October 2020 to June 2026. Resolution 66, 2025, approving a person-to-person transfer and place-to-place transfer of plenary retail consumption license number 1211-33003, Uncle Activo LLC, to Hainos Brothers LLC. Resolution 67, 2025, return to performance guarantee to 400 Main Street LLC for the subdivision of 400 Market Street. Resolution 68, 2025, approval of the 2025 HUD funds.
Well, you didn't even have to take a second breath for that one. Yeah, you breezed right through that. Okay, does anyone need any of these pulled? No?
No, Mayor.
Okay, a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second? Any discussion? No? Call the roll, please.
Council President Conaghan.
Yes.
Councilman Carnes.
Yes.
Councilman DeSenza.
Yes.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Griggs.
Yes.
All right, everything passes. Non-consent agenda?
We have Resolution 69, 2025, pay all claims.
Motion?
Motion.
Second? All right, any discussion? All right, call the roll, please.
Council President Conaghan.
Yes.
Councilman Carnes.
Yes.
Councilman DeSenza.
Yes.
Councilman DeCino.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Griggs.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, we're going on to agenda workshop items. We have 2 items on here tonight. Bobby, I know number 1 is something near and dear to your heart. Who's leading the charge on that? Is it you or Michael?
Bobby is.
Started off.
Well, while the streetscape was going on, it was, brought up to me by people from the Elks and the Legion that we should do the hometown banners like every other town has. So I had consensus from the council back then, but we were waiting for the streetscape lights to be put in. You know how that was held up by PSCG.
Sure.
So ultimately, it went on to the library lawn, which is a separate thing. It's not this. But now here we are, where the polls are up, and I would like the consensus to move forward with this. I know you all know what it is, but the questions that we have to decide now is when. We only have 30 poles in front of the streetscape, and we have some down the lake. So we have a total of, I think, 60. So I spoke to the gentleman today from here. They would set up all the paperwork for us. They would set up the form that the residents would fill out. We would need 1 contact person for the public works, and that Chris said he would do it.
Okay.
So checks would come in, and then the problem is we have to decide when we want to start this, if we're all in favor of this.
Well, if you don't mind me asking a question. So this is basically, we're going to have brackets on the light poles, and someone will say, I have a hometown hero, I fill out a form, I guess they're sending in the check, they're funding the banner itself?
They pay for the banner themselves, yes.
Okay, and then we would put it up?
So we have to have a start date when we want to do it. Obviously, we won't make Memorial Day, obviously, but
Well, how long does it take?
talks about July 4th. The problem is we don't want to put 1 up, 2 up. We want to put a deadline. Okay, by this date, we want to, and we'll see how many we have, and we go from there. I don't know what kind of response we have, because the library lawn, they were free.
Right.
These are $75.
75?
For
75? That's not bad.
I mean, it's everywhere else in the state.
I think it's a great idea.
And you have a vendor.
Michael?
And you have a vendor that does it.
I just, staff has been working with Councilman DeCino about this, and there are a few issues that I think we need to sort of iron out.
Yeah.
As the councilman
Michael,
said,
before we do that, would Lenny, I think he's here for this, right?
Lenny's, yeah, we spoke to the gentleman today.
do you want me to let him know?
Yeah, because he would be he'd be administrator, right?
How much are brackets?
Brackets we have paid for through money from the streetscape.
So we have brackets, we don't
We
have,
have the brackets.
no banners.
We have no banners.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on a few things for our discussion.
Yes.
It's not a matter of doing it and not doing it. It's a matter of, I think everybody wants to do it, where and how to do it. Because we have actually less than 60 of the ornamental streetlights. We have them along Route 28 by Mountain View Park, and actually going from about Wendy's up to past the high school. And then we have some in Victor Crowell Park. But that's what we have for the foreseeable future.
We have some on
Lincoln Boulevard.
We do have some.
We have a few on Lincoln Boulevard, so maybe there's 60 in total. But that's it for the foreseeable future until we do more streetscape projects. What Lenny and I had talked about is, and I know the mayor and I had discussions about doing some branding banners, like with the Middlesex logo on, possibly on some of the streetlights. But we're going to have to figure out which banners go where. Like
I agree, yeah, that's why I want to do this. I want to
Right. Some of the towns use utility poles because there's an unlimited number of utility poles. We have hundreds of utility poles. Keep in mind that when we did the database of veterans in Middlesex for the Legacy Lawn, there's over 200.
Free.
Right. Free, but I don't know if we have interest in doing this new program and there's more than 60. I don't know what the
First come, first
First
served.
come, first served. And that's what we talked about, Lenny and I, like who, and then when do the old ones come off and the new ones go
Well,
on?
one thing that Lenny and I were thinking about is if we use the utility poles for the veterans, for the hometown heroes, not only do we have an unlimited number, we could maybe do either Route 28 or we could do the Memorial Day Parade route, Route 28, Union Avenue, Harrison, that sort of thing. There's a lot of things that we might want to think about. If we just want to do the streetscapes, then we're doing about 60.
I think they would look, the new poles, I think they would look amazing on the new poles.
Yeah.
I think we stick with just the new poles for right now.
I agree, Michael. The reason
Well,
why...
how about if we have interest from more than 60 families?
Well, we have a lot of, two things. We have a lot of telephone poles that are either, some are new, some are old, some are misplaced. They're not our poles. I just think the veterans should be on the nicer poles.
Okay.
And the wooden poles should have the blue ends. I love the blue ends. I think every other or every third pole,
Where'd you put them?
the wooden PSE&G poles. The utility poles should get the blue end,
Okay.
and the nicer $10,000 Montclair style poles should get the veterans.
I think you should
I
hold
think
off.
Lincoln Boulevard is also, I think we have probably at least 20 or 30 on Lincoln Boulevard.
Well,
In front of all the apartments, we
yeah,
have
those-
3 properties.
3 properties and Gillies, more than you think, and then in Victor Crowell, we can even double
We
stack
can
them.
double them on, because we can't double
Because
them
we
on the
can't have trucks.
highway, because it has to be over the sidewalk.
Well, in the highway, if you did them over the roadway, you have to do a minimum.
Yeah, that's not fair.
But in Victor Crowell, we could do double, Michael?
You could
Because
put 2 on one.
You could go side by side.
Side.
So
If
with
you do banners
Lincoln-
over the sidewalk, you have the minimum clearance of 7 feet.
We have plenty of room. There are
Yeah.
If
15
you do banners on the street side, it has to have 14 foot minimum
On the
clearance.
street.
And we
yeah.
measured the poles, we have plenty of room on the.
You know-
Just again, I'm just a little concerned, let's say we have 60 or 70 ornaments.
I think it's probably 80 or
If
90.
we have interest from families more than that, what do we tell them?
First
Let's
come,
let's
first
wait
served.
till first come, first served, and let's wait to see what we have. I would
We have
hold
a wait
off.
list, and I think you're going to do, I'm sorry, Mayor, the phase 2 of the streetscape. So we're not talking 30 years.
Okay.
We're talking, I don't know, like 5, 10 years. I mean,
Yes, I'm working on the grant for phase 2, which is going to continue from Washington Ave.
Texas Wiener, maybe?
Is it?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Texas Wiener.
Yeah, I would hold off on the wood poles for the time being because they're still putting up new poles and they still got to take the old poles down, and that's something that we, because you go around town, you see a lot of double poles and they haven't even gotten that far, and as fast as they move, forget it. We know the streetscape style poles, they're going nowhere for a long
I
time,
mean, we're the only town.
except for the one that lasted one day.
They're everywhere, except in Middlesex.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great product. Bobby, you've been working on that for 3 years.
And this guy does, the vendor does a lot of it.
Yeah,
And he'll work with Chris.
I spoke to him today.
He does the majority of town.
Yep, and then you guys put them up.
Yes.
Yes, he does the whole form, very self-explanatory. They're paid for.
Are we doing it at 7 feet clearance or that's not?
Yes, we measured already, so they're gonna be 7 feet over.
Well, I think that makes sense because then if they were to
Yeah, it would be over the sidewalk for the streetscape one in front of Mountain View Park, and then in Victor Pro, it would be double, right? It would be right on the left. So total being, correct me if I'm wrong, about 72, total 72, right, something like that? So it'd be 72 if we double, Victor Pro, which has 21, and streetscape has 30. That's not counting Lincoln Boulevard whatsoever. It's probably 20. I would say at least 20. Those are smaller poles, but still, yes, they're at least.
You could do them over the sidewalk too.
Correct. Yes, you know, we talked about, because the ones in the streetscape I could take down, because normal towns leave them up all year. So the one in the streetscape I would take down before Christmas, and then put up my snowflakes that I want to put up. And we could kind of have a rotation list to where it's on a spreadsheet, who signed up first, so first come, first served, so the next one we can start putting on a rotation, if we get more than we have.
And $80 is not, I mean, it's, you know.
That's the biggest question, is how do you do phase two if say we have 51 people, who comes down? That's my biggest problem, my biggest concern. You know what I'm saying? Who comes down?
I think if you do end up getting, I like to prepare for the worst. I don't know, maybe it's better than you with our job. But let's say you get 150 people and you don't have enough now. You don't have enough poles to put them on. Then we can start with the parade route, right? It wouldn't be bad to see them all the way down Harris Avenue. Worst case scenario, to utilize some of those to stay on all year. A specific road.
Can we talk about
Mountain? You could do Mountain because municipal building, the police station, Veterans Memorial right here. So yeah, there's a lot of factors. But brackets I need to order, just FYI, like yesterday.
And we need the ornamental ones for the street, right?
Correct. So I need to get this order in ASAP. So that's why I was telling Michael, and I just need to know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get on the same
I need to
page.
put in the order. I'm good with it, Mayor.
Contract?
How long
State contract?
is this the material?
I am on it.
How
Yeah,
long
mine
is it
is
supposed to
second.
last?
He said
The last years.
years
Last
instead of
one?
last
Okay.
years.
Yeah.
Right, Len, what did he say about
How long for
longevity?
Years.
It's all the most important part
It's
is how taut it is when you put it up. So
Attention. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really that. Listen, whatever the cost of the
So they're not flopping?
Whatever the cost of the banner would be, we spoke about charging an additional $10 for each hometown hero.
Keep a slush
to put that into a slush fund to where if something does happen to your
Let's call it a
banner.
project.
Or,
Let's call it a project.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, slush fund is a bad term.
No slush. Dave, there are no slush funds in Middlesex Borough. The only slush fund is the fund we use for the plowing. For the plowing is the slush fund.
No slush right there. If we get hit by a truck.
Right.
Go slush.
Don't forget hit by a truck.
or gets run over, a pole gets run over a road. We have
Exactly.
We have money to replace it.
Okay.
These look like the ones that are in Manville right now.
They're all.
I'll tell you, they're pretty color fast because they've had them up there for a while.
Right, and we can also, we'll be designing our own. Every town does exactly the same. You can pick the colors and obviously the town names, things like that. So you can kind of make it your own.
We were thinking like a darker blue, Mayor, and because they're UV protected the whole 9 yards, obviously, but and I know how you like the color blue.
Branding.
I'd say they're going to last 2 to 4 years at least.
Good.
I would say.
the problem with that is how do we move to phase two? That's if we have more people. That's the only issue. That's the part that scares me.
We'll manage that.
Yeah, but I mean, do you really think? I mean, you're gonna have doubles in the park. You're gonna have 60 poles outside. I mean, that's a lot of people.
Would it be something that would fall under the beautification for the future?
Well, that's see, now that's more. I agree with that, Jeremiah. Yes, I definitely agree. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because it was, how it was in the past. 100%, I agree with you.
Yeah, I would like to just personally say, like, this has been talked since I've been around. So thank you for grabbing this and doing it for the veterans. Like, we really appreciate that. It definitely means a lot coming from non-veterans, right? Like, that support and love for what we do. So this is a beautiful
All right,
idea.
so-
I'd like to see it come.
So at this point,
Just to get it started, right?
where are we at to get this going?
We just give him the consensus that, yeah, we want to move forward. He'll make the...
Bracket.
He'll make the form for us,
Correct.
the application form with our, and then we just, how do we put it out there? Do we do it on social media? Do we put it on our page?
Put it right on the website, put it right out front, you could put it on the sign out front.
But you don't have, I don't know who you want to work on the actual design of the banner. They're going to ask us for what do we want our banners to look
Yeah.
like, color, check. That's
Well, like Jeremiah said,
probably
probably
we
should
can
let
let the new, well, segues into the next.
You know what, we could let, our little, PR people come up with something.
Yeah.
Help us.
Let's just
That's what they're there for.
get it going tonight.
Let's get it going.
Yeah. And
So-
I think it should fall under culture and heritage. I do believe, I do agree with that.
Right, that's good.
All right,
But I'll
I'm good.
work with you, Jer, on that, whatever.
I'm good.
Also.
all right, so we're good.
So move forward, yeah?
Yes.
Everybody? Yes, 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 all right.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
we beat, all right, very good. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go, Bobby.
Tired of talking about Jesus.
All right, let's move on to the Cultural and Arts Beautification Committee. The Cultural and Arts Beautification Committee, what we originally talked about, the way to do this is that we're not really changing the name. It's still going to be Cultural and Arts. We want to roll the beautification into it. Now, in the last week, it was funny. Well, it wasn't funny, but what wound up happening is that I had presented to Chris the language to put in there. At the same time, like a few days later, you did the same thing. You know, but we're not that far off. So I just would like to go through, because Chris actually had written up an ordinance based on what I gave him the first time, because he had it done for the Thursday that we were going to put out the agenda, but yours came out on the Thursday, and then we just decided to pull the whole thing back, to just wait.
I just did this because you asked me to.
No, that's okay. No problem.
Mayor, if I may, there's nothing about the beautification committee in any ordinance or resolution anywhere. So we kind of had to reconstruct it from scratch, and Jack and Jeremiah kind of did it at the same time. So we could make it any way you want. There's no rules or
I
restraints.
did have a discussion with the chairman of the Culture and Arts, and we do believe that the September 11th Remembrance Ceremony should maybe go back to the historical and ceremonial.
Hard to believe, you and I were I told Chris that didn't belong there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that would be...
September
good for
11th goes
history.
with Shirley and the library and all that.
Celebration.
Yeah.
Community
Yeah, they
celebration.
do a really good job with that.
Yeah, exactly. It goes somewhere else. And as far as the other ones, all right, we were pretty much in sync with all the other ones, except for, I think that as a committee cannot make an ordinance. And my own feeling on this is I agree with like the first line and everyone, but where you say we propose including adjustments to zoning or property maintenance codes to incentivize participation, I think that's a bit much, like a little bit of an overreach. That's my own opinion. And it was almost the same thing for every single one. It was like the holiday homes, an ordinance for guidelines for holiday displays, for the summer flower, ordinance to establish rules for planning and common areas. And I think we got to just hold off a little bit on that, because the environmental is going back with this whole, the invasive species and all the rest of that. So we're trying to do like almost two things at the same time. I think we should leave these categories almost a little bit more generic, giving you some time to figure out what's a good way to make it work and go from there.
That works.
All right.
I mean, the only one I would, like the borough holiday lawn decorations, the DPW usually handles that. Do we want to work along with them with that, or is that something to where, again, like I don't know if they took over it because there was no help, because there is no volunteers to get out and help that, or if it was something that's like part of it.
Well, usually the stuff is the borough.
I didn't know if they were just picking up part
Yeah, that
of
was never
what fell
DPW.
apart.
DPW never did that.
No, yeah, Louis just, Lenny just sort of inherited that little.
We remove it when we have to maintain the property, Jeremiah, and that's it, and then they put it back, but that's all we managed to do there. So I guess I'm referencing like the Mountain View Park, like that little set up No,
Oh, I was thinking of that
Gazebo.
stuff.
Oh, no, you thought you were talking about the one where you have the sliding board and the ball, the elf going through the air, those type of things.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all.
So at this point, you know, what we'd like to do is basically, Chris, you have something put together. You just heard what we talked, so you don't have an issue, or anyone has an issue with like throwing out the ordinance part. I don't think we need to get to that level at this point, but I definitely think.
Go on, Mayor, go on.
And we already talked about not having the September 11th thing there. What changes would you have to make to your ordinance the way you did it to get this rolling?
Go back to the first one, the ordinance aspect of it. Can you clarify what you're talking about?
I am talking about the version that you did.
Yeah, I know, so that's the version I did. You don't...
Jeremiah was looking at.
Yeah, I have all that. So, when you said, is you, I didn't understand the very first thing you said, and I can't repeat it. I understood everything else, but the first, so what were you referring to?
What I'm referring to is this, all right, hang on, I'm just looking for, where's the one with the blackout in there? You had one, this is the original.
That's what Chris,
That should be the only one.
over.
Where's the one where you put in,
That's the one I think Chris did.
here it is.
Yeah, that includes all the ones that you asked me to add.
Home of the month.
It was bold. I mean, Linda, I thought...
That's all right. Well, let's just look at it. It says home of the month, right? What else? The holiday homes program, all right?
Summer flower.
Summer flower program, and other appropriate purposes.
Yeah, because you could just...
I mean,
you
that's...
could spin it out forever. I don't mind. I mean, you tell me when to stop spinning and I'll stop spinning, right? You want to,
Well,
you know...
I mean, for where we are right now, is this sufficient?
General. Yeah.
Is this sufficient for right now?
And the other thing is that wording leaves it general. You could say, hey, you guys are going to take this over for beautification. It's a general term.
It's a general term, and it eliminates the one you didn't want. It has everything else in there.
If you put, I think it's been better for volunteers when they can actually see, like, I understand what you're saying, like, it's limitless, but if they see things like that, this is what they can go work on, I think it makes it more understandable to them. So if we, like, add these things,
if we just...
however they want to be general and open, that's fine.
All right, so basically eliminate the ordinance bit, but then just put in...
When you say, what do you mean?
Like, right here.
Oh, the word.
We propose including adjustments to zoning or property maintenance codes, like eliminate that line, keep the first line, aimed at encouraging homeowners to maintain and
The
improve.
problem with making this any longer than it is, this is section 6 of subsection 6 of section A, is that you're going to have the beautification aspect of it, which, by the way, are nowhere in the code now and nowhere in a resolution anyone can find. You will see very quickly that 6 will overwhelm the rest of your excellent work in terms of text. I would suggest, like, coming up with a mission statement and a scope of work for this committee, and then
We're meeting this week, so I can go and talk to them. And
do you understand?
if you would like to talk.
Yeah, because we're basically saying the same thing. We just gotta...
So if I start adding a lot more stuff in here, that's section 6, which is all beautification stuff, is going to overwhelm other good missions of the committee.
Yeah, you want to condense this to something short.
Yeah, I would love to add it, like, if I could keep it down to another 2 lines, you'll see how it'll look. It'll look weird. It'll look that you've got all these, Jeremiah, when you and I wrote this, right, we worked on it together, you got 1 through 5, right, but then you'll see that 6, which are all the beautification committee's responsibilities, they're not written anywhere, will now become like half of that section and just make it very confusing to understand what people are trying to accomplish. I mean, I guess I could break it out into a different subsection.
I was gonna say, if you just bring number 6 and just label it like you said, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for programs, and number 7 being the council teams to be part of it.
Yeah, but still, Jeremiah, I think you still have a problem there, because the duties of the committee shall consist of engaging and encouraging cultural, historic, and right? You'll see that first sentence. So then you have 5 things that do that, right? Then you have a 6th paragraph that then becomes basically its own section. If I break it out into another section of its own, Now you have two sections of an ordinance describing two different sets of duties, which are all related, right? But you haven't really, like, you don't say, like, your visual arts, all the great work you guys are doing. You don't break it out by mission statement there. I think I frankly already have gone too far here in terms of the specificity. Because you haven't done that in one or two, right? So let's say in one, I know you have a lot of mic now, right? You're doing a lot of good stuff. You haven't broken that out here specifically, but you do break it out here in 6. It just looks weird, and it can be confusing. I want to get you to yes, as I always do, right? So we can either expand the whole ordinance, which I think would be okay, but also you're going to have an ordinance here that's longer than your land use ordinance, right? Or you can come up with some internal scope
Like an
of work
internal
bylaws.
document?
I'm just trying to make this as
No,
straightforward as
this is
possible.
fine. I had no idea this was done. I just did this because there was nothing else, and I just went based off a script of what they were doing.
So that could be like the scope of what they do for that section.
Yeah, I mean, I want you guys to understand it could look like strange and confusing in the code book. So the remedy of that is either to take it offline from the code book and come up with a really, that's what basically was done with the beautification committee when it's basically not in your code at all. So you could take it offline and create like a nice scope of work, mission statement type stuff, which I think you'd be great with, Jeremiah, based on all 6 of these. Or, I think it's the less good option, you could then make, implement, supplement the whole part of each of the 6 of them. I think that the ordinance then overwhelms the purpose. My opinion, you guys decide. I'll spin it any way you want, right? I'll spin it all day long.
I mean,
So-
it's like...
That's going to change over the years too, depending on what's going on. The mission statement will change.
Well,
as things progress
But
too.
this is not the mission
No,
statement.
no,
This
that's what I'm
could be
saying.
cobbled into the mission
They
statement,
do-
but this right here just says this is the stuff you're
The
doing.
ordinance grants broad...
So I think you're better off with the shorter one than the
The
longer
ordinance
one.
gives you broad lease to go out there and it becomes almost like a wiki, right? You just add little parts of the wiki and
We'll get
as you
there.
come up with them, right? If things don't work out, because right now, under this ordinance, you guys really are sort of kind of compelled to do all these things. Do you want to add even more things you're compelled to do, but some things might not fire and other things might fire. You're an artist, Jeremiah. You understand creativity comes in spurts, right? So, it's just a suggestion. I'll do it
So
more.
at this point, guys, we're all kind of like in sync as to what we're trying to accomplish. It's just a matter of how this thing is written up. Now, to move this forward, how do we get that accomplished? Do you work with Jeremiah just to finish up the last little bit? Or do we go with what it is right here and call it a day?
I mean,
That was a lot of information
Okay.
for the workshop.
Yeah, why don't you think about it?
Yeah,
Why don't you think about
I see it making a lot of sense.
Think
Like,
about it.
It's simple.
there's no real,
All right, so Jeremiah,
Process the ordinance
Think about it.
anyway.
Then that committee.
Jeremiah, work with Chris. When he comes up with the final thing, he'll send it to me. If it's, because I understood this, because I went through the whole thing. If it's in sync, you and I'll get it together, and next meeting, it'll be an ordinance for introduction.
Correct. Okay.
All right, we good?
Yep. Perfect.
Everybody else?
Good.
Everybody?
So next meeting.
Good. Yeah, next meeting. All right, good. Okay, let me get back. All right, so moving on, we have privilege of the floor on agenda workshop items only. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, everybody run up. Come on, Bob, you're itching to go. No?
Dave?
Dave?
Dave, you don't have any questions about that slush fund?
Come on, Dave, put it up.
Dave, I wanna know about the slush fund.
Or the Moon Men, come on. He's gonna be up against the Moon Men again. All right, motion to close?
Motion. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we're gonna go into executive session. Action will not be taken tonight. And,
We have resolution
Yep.
70-2025, executive session.
motion?
Motion.
Second? All right, roll call, please.
Council President Conahan.
Yes.
Councilman Carnes.
Yes.
Councilman Casino.
Yes.
Councilman DeSenza.
Yes.
I guess it's these wrong. Councilman Doty. I
Yes.
got them all up. Councilman Griggs.
Yes.
11 order, but we got it.
All right, we got everybody?
Yep.
Everybody, our next meeting is on February 25th.
Well, you got